Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and welcome to our Shabbat Evening Service at Temple Emeth in Teaneck, New Jersey. At this service, I'm pleased to welcome to the Bima Temple member Ida Jean Fisher, who is going to be singing and leading our Chazanut, our music at this service this evening. At this time, if you have a copy of Mishkan Tefillah, I invite you to bring it to the computer, as we'll be using Mishkan Tefillah as our Siddur for our service this evening. If you don't have a copy of Mishkan Tefillah at home, then you can still access one by going to the live stream page of our Temple Emeth website. Scroll down just a little bit, and then you'll see a part of the page that says to access the Siddur prayer book. And there's a link to Mishkan Tefillah in a flipbook edition. It's best if you use it on a second device, but I'm sure you can figure out how to watch us and look at the words of the Siddur all at the same time. And I invite you to do that so that you can get the full experience of our service this evening. I also at this time invite you to post in the comments or chat section of the live stream platform you're using. That way we can know who is joining us, where you're joining us from. You can add your location, add a greeting for Shabbat or the upcoming festival of Passover, and that way we'll have the chance to form a bond of virtual community this evening. Our service begins with the lighting of our Shabbat candles, which is found in your Siddur on pages 120 and 121. And I'm pleased to call upon Temple member Eleanor Bookbinder to lead us in the candle blessing this evening.
These lights are only flickering flames, yet the flames illumine our uncertain steps. Flames purify and renew, soften and refine, they brighten and make warm. Flames remind us of Sabbaths long past and of their beauty that delighted our hearts. May they inspire us to work for the great Sabbath of peace. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Stand right in the middle. Our service continues now with the Kaddish for Shabbat evening, which is found in your Siddur on page 123, preceded by an opening reading. Please rise for the Kaddish.
As evening falls, we give thanks for the blessings of the past week, for life and strength, for work and rest, for home, love, and community. As we enjoy this bounty, may we be inspired to bring goodness into the lives of others. We raise a cup of wine in gratitude for the miracle of creation and for the gift of this day of rest. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'harta ve'otanu kidashta mikol Shabbat Kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. Please be seated. We turn now to page 127 in our Siddur to offer an opening reading. We read together, "There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace." We turn now to page 128. At the top of the page, we find our opening song. Please join with us as we sing Hine Ma Tov.
Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is,
How good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. How good it is,
how good it is,
how sweet it is,
how sweet it is
to be together on this day. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tov u'ma na'im shevet achim gam yachad.
We turn now in our Siddurim to page 143, where we find an excerpt from the book of Genesis. Tomorrow evening at our Seder, we will quote from the book of Deuteronomy, Arami Oved Avi, my father was a wandering Aramaean. It is a reference to our patriarch Jacob, and he wanders in many directions over the course of the book of Genesis, but this is the first time that he wanders, his first time leaving home for a new land and a new place to call home. And so when we talk about Arami Oved Avi, about our history of wandering and our history of having to find a new home in a new place over and over again over the course of Jewish history, we hearken back to this very text. I invite you to read with me. "And Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. Coming upon a certain place, he passed the night there, for the sun was setting. Taking one of the stones of the place, he made it his headrest as he lay down in that place. He dreamed, and lo, a ladder was set on the ground with its top reaching to heaven, and lo, angels of God going up and coming down on it. And lo, Adonai stood up above it and said, I, Adonai, am the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. The land on which you are lying I will give to you and to your descendants. And your descendants shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread out to the west and the east and the north and the south. Through you and your descendants all the families of the earth shall find blessing. And here I am with you. I will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this soil. I will not let go of you as long as I have yet to do what I have promised you." Waking from his sleep, Jacob said, "Truly Adonai is in this place, and I did not know it." He was awestruck and said, "How awe-inspiring is this place? This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven."
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברך חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומן ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקדושה בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו amen.
We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 146.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim B'chokhma poteach sha'arim Uvitvuna mishanei itim Umachalif et hazmanim Umisader et hakochavim B'mishmorotehem Barakia kirtsono Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech V'choshech mipnei or Uma'avir yom umevi layla Umavdil ben yom uvein layla Adonai tzvaot shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Elenu Leolam Va'ed Baruch Atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. We read together in English on page 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch Atah Adonai Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on page 157 as we read together in English. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
מי כמוך באלימה Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef ale, Nora tehilot osef ale, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Malechutecha uvonecha, bokei hayam livnei Moshe uMiriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'ameru, Adonai imloch leolam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
We turn now to page 161, where we find an interpretation of the Hashkivenu, the prayer that asks for God's protection as night descends upon us. We read together in English, "Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom Elenu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim."
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
The next part of our service, the tefillah, is found in your Siddur on page 164. Please rise for the tefillah.
Adonai sefata tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומושיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחייך כל את הרב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מחלחל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא הולדים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We turn now in our Siddurim to page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh ha-Shabbat. At this point in our service, we offer a prayer for peace, which is found in your Siddur on page 179. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael. Shalom. We take a moment now for Tfilat Halev, a moment to offer to God the prayer of our hearts. Inspirational readings for this time are found in your Siddur on pages 180 and 181.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן.
At this time, our thoughts turn to those in need of healing as we prepare to offer a Mishaberach for healing found in your Siddur on page 371. We think at this time of two American communities, Atlanta, Georgia, and Boulder, Colorado, in need of healing after violent, senseless shootings. We think of a world in need of healing as we are now in the second year of our global pandemic. And we think of our community in need of healing. In a moment, we will scroll the names of those members of our community and their loved ones that we pray for in need of healing, and we add to that name Alan Rosenfeld. We turn now to page 371 as we join together in singing the Mishaberach.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
In his commentary on the Haggadah, published in 1993, Holocaust survivor and Nobel Prize winner Elie Wiesel wrote the following about the Dayenu section of the Seder. The name of this beautiful prayer is Dayenu, which means it would have sufficed, or we would have been satisfied. Perhaps grateful would have been a better translation. Dayenu is the song of our gratitude. A Jew defines himself by his capacity for gratitude. A Jewish philosopher was once asked, what is the opposite of nihilism? And he said, Dayenu, the ability to be thankful for what we have received, for what we are. The first prayer a Jew is expected to recite upon waking expresses his gratitude for being alive. This holds for all generations and surely for ours. For each of us, every day should be an act of grace, every hour a miraculous offering. How amazing that Elie Wiesel, who had seen such horror during the Holocaust, including the death of his father, could speak about gratitude in this way. The way he phrases his interpretation of Dayenu reveals that each day is an opportunity to acknowledge the gifts God gives and be thankful for them. These times challenge us to consider Wiesel's words. We have all sacrificed in the past year, and though these sacrifices were different for each of us, none of them felt trivial at the time. Some of us sacrificed for financial reasons, and others because the risk of spreading the virus to others was too great. Each sacrifice, large and small, deserves acknowledgement. The difference between a sacrifice and a loss is the sense of a greater good. In this week's Torah portion, the sacrifices are described in great detail. Animals are offered, or meal offerings are made, and the result is holiness, a connection to God, an elevated status for the priests. Though it never says so in the text, the implication is that the Israelites are eager to make sacrifices. That is where Wiesel's sense of gratitude becomes so important. The Israelites had given up so much, their labor, their freedom, and their ability to worship God. And now we, vicariously acting in their stead, recite Dayenu. We know that they suffered under Pharaoh's rule, Do we betray them by singing Dayenu? I prefer to think that we express the feelings that they would have expressed if they had had the vocabulary. Speaking of gratitude, I would like to mention something specific from the last week. Israelis went to the polls to vote for Knesset and Prime Minister. The full results of the election will take some time, but one thing is clear. Rabbi Gilad Kariv will become a member of Knesset as part of the Labor Party. It represents the first time a Reform rabbi has been elected to the Knesset. While it is unlikely that Labor will be invited to join the governing coalition, the fact that Reform Jews are explicitly represented is good news for religious pluralism and egalitarianism in Israel, and for that, I am grateful. Elie Wiesel said, "Every day should be an act of grace, every hour a miraculous offering." It is hard to maintain such a consistent attitude the way Wiesel describes it. Nonetheless, the Seder, even if it is on Zoom, is a great way to begin. Chag Sameach and Shabbat Shalom. Our service continues now with the Elenu, which is found in your Siddur on page 586 at the bottom of the page. Please rise for the Elenu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות חדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We remain standing at this time for the Mourner's Kaddish. A reading to introduce the Mourner's Kaddish is found in your Siddur on page 593. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance and our life burns down in gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives, we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. This Shabbat, we remember those for whom we are in the Shloshim, 30-day period of mourning. David Kohen, a member of Temple Emeth, husband of Wendy Kosakoff, and father of Danny, Josh, and Adam Kohen. Ted Gorley, cousin of Ida Jean Fisher. Frederick Towers, stepfather of Lisa Abrams. And Frederick Siegel, uncle of Arlene Packles and Stephen Packles. We remember as well those whose yahrzeits occurred this week: Rosario Abrams, Morton Archer, Sonia Atkins, Nina Benish, Ruth Benish, Goldie and Sydney Bronsnick, Helen Castoreo, David Cohen, Marvin Cohen, Kalman Donick, Matilda Falk, Joseph Feynman, Robert Friedson, Rachel Gold, Benjamin Gordon, Irmgard Hahn, Leon Hyams, Aaron Jablonka, Betty Kaufman, Olga Kirsch, Helen Kitzinger, Stephen Cohn, Phyllis Kornfeld, Abraham Levin, Sophie Toby Levin, Edith Locke, Betty Menkes, Louis Meyer, Mitzi Moses, Ruben Nosowitz, Dorothy Nussbaum, Alice Pfeffer, Cecil W. Pollock, Lillian Pollock, Elaine Proper, Pauline Rappaport, Minnie Rosenfeld, Goldie K. Saltzman, Shirley Schleifer, Howard Schneider, Esther Schifrin, Stanley Strassman, Jane Ellen Strickler, Walter Sturm, Wayne Wagner, Elise Weinberger, Morris Weinberger, Ruth Weiss, George Witterschein, and Barbara P. Woog. We remember the names of the victims of the Boulder, Colorado supermarket shooting: Trolona Bartkowiak, age 49, Suzanne Fountain, age 59, Kevin Mahoney, age 61, Lynn Murray, age 62, Terry Leiker, age 51, Ricky Olds, age 25, Stephen Stanisic, age Nevin Stanisic, age 23, Denny Stong, age 20, Officer Eric Talley, age 51, and Jody Waters, age 65. And we remember the names of 6 of the 6 million who perished in the Holocaust: Sima Fix of Romania, age 52, Meyer Furman of the Soviet Union, age 41, Polina Frankel of Romania, age 37, Josef Frankel of Romania, age 40, Dora Frankel of Romania, age 63, and Naum Kirschner of the Soviet Union, age 33. We remember them all. We take them into our hearts with our own as we turn now to page 598 and we join together in the life-affirming words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu, la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim Elenu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Elenu ve'el kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And let us say, Amen. Please be seated. It is my pleasure at this time to call upon Stacy Butler, a member of our Board of Trustees, to offer Shabbat greetings and announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it's my pleasure to welcome you to our Shabbat Evening Service on live stream. All Temple Emeth members are invited to celebrate the first night of Passover, Saturday evening, with a Zoom Seder at 6 p.m. hosted by Rabbi Jordan Milstein at Temple Sinai. Sunday, March 28th, we'll partner with Temple Sinai for a festival morning service at 10:30 a.m. on live stream. Then I hope you'll join us, Rabbi Sirbu, as he hosts a second night Seder at 6 p.m. on Zoom. Temple members Mark Klausner and Richard Bookbinder will share their musical talents with us at the event. Don't forget, registration deadline for our wine and spirits tasting event is on Monday, March 29th. It will take place on Saturday night, April 10th on Zoom. Participants in this Temple Emeth fundraiser will learn about Israeli wine, whiskey, and gin from Milk and Honey Distillery. Our adult education mini university resumes on Tuesday, April 6th, with stories from a Jewish perspective, led by a rotation of presenters. Separately, Rabbi Sirbu will guide us in Machloket Matters, how to disagree constructively. These weekly classes start at 7:30 p.m. and 8:40 p.m. respectively. You're invited to join the Holocaust Commemoration Committee of the Jewish Community Council of Greater Teaneck for Survivors and Survival, a virtual observance of Yom HaShoah on Thursday, April 8th. This year's program features Hannah Pick Gosler, a Holocaust survivor and friend of Anne Frank. Finally, Rabbi Sirbu will discuss lessons from the pandemic at the next B'Yachad breakfast on Sunday morning, April 18th. The rabbi will offer his assessments on what will go back to normal once the pandemic is over and what changes are here to stay. BYOB, bring your own bagel, to this Zoom event at 10:30 a.m. Thank you to the volunteers in the live stream control booth. Maddie Wolf-Eichen and Richard Eichen are at the controls this evening. They're joined by Supervisor Amanda Eastman and trainees Bruce Bieber and Alana Bieber. Remember to keep the weekly email you received Thursday in your inbox all week long. It has the login codes for all of the week's Zoom programming. Happy Passover and Shabbat Shalom.
And I'd like to take this moment to thank Ida Jean Fisher for offering our Chazanut this evening and sharing her voice and talents with us. She was joined by accompanist Tom Mustachio, so thank you to you both. And our closing song can be found on page 677 of Mishkan Tefillah. Our closing song is "O Guide My Steps."
Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps, and help me make each day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps, and help me make each day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps.
As our service draws to a close, I want to offer one last reminder to please let us know that you've watched the service and that you've participated by posting your name, your location, a Shabbat greeting, perhaps a Passover greeting in the chat or comment section of the live stream. It's a wonderful way to identify yourself and be part of the virtual community that we've created as part of this Shabbat service. As our service draws to a close, we turn to those around us, to the folks that we have joined with online, and we conclude our service by saying Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.